Welcome, everybody. I know that we have in our Zoom at least one participant in the southwest who is dealing with the current weather and the challenges that have happened because of the weather. And so if anybody else is out there watching this or is watching this in the recording, we are keeping you all in our hearts and thoughts and prayers today as you navigate this challenge. And today I want to acknowledge the land that I'm on, the land acknowledgement. I live in Redwood City, California, which was the historical land of the Ohlone Ramaytush population. And just thinking about the land today as we deal with more impacts of weather change and with global warming and how that's impacting all of us, even if it's not directly in our felt sense right now. So this week we have another interesting Torah portion. This is the Torah portion for Truma, and Truma means gifts or donations. And the portion is all about building the sanctuary, or the Mishkan in Hebrew, which gets translated to sanctuary. And another translation, which I really don't like, tabernacle. I don't even know what that means. But it's the Mishkan, and a lot about generosity. And so I had such great response from everybody that they loved the body scan last week, that I'm going to do another body scan meditation around both the sense of Mishkan, and I'll get to unpacking that a little bit more, and generosity that comes up. I mean, it's the name of this week's Torah portion in the Hebrew Bible that Jews around the world are reading and exploring this week. So it's to set the context. Moses came down from Sinai after having quite an interesting conversation with the ground of all being, Yah, that many name God, and brought back these tablets with these 10 utterances, or these 10 commandments, giving some shape and structure to how the Israelites should hold themselves now that they are making a new community out of being former slaves. And I think we all would agree that laws and rules, commandments, are important. They tell us how to act in relationship with other people, with other creatures, with other things. And what's interesting is that they're now being instructed through Moses by God, to build this Mishkan. And I don't know if everybody remembers, or if you were here, Mishkan, Shekhinah, it comes from the same root. So Mishkan, this sanctuary, and Shekhinah, the indwelling presence, the presence of the divine, of the holy that we feel, that is in us, that is around us, that is our sense of the divine as embodied spirits, versus that sense of the divine that we can't grasp, the mystery, that unknown, that has other names, but Shekhinah is the one that we feel here when we want comfort, when we feel moved, when we feel creative inspiration, when we feel connection. That's all. That part of the divine in Hebrew is called Shekhinah, same root as Mishkan. And a beautiful couple of beautiful lines from this Torah portion. So Yah says to Moses, each person is to bring a teruma, a gift or a donation, and then it uses the Hebrew yidbenu livo, and so that is literally translated each person with a generous heart that speaks to them or that moves them, a heart that moves them, a heart that speaks to them to be generous. It's a free offering. Nobody's required to do it. It's not a tithe. It's not a tax. And in fact, people end up bringing so much that they have to say stop, which is kind of the nice side of humanity. And to create a central worship place. Prior to this, people would individually worship where they wanted to worship. That is, being the Jews, not the Egyptians. A lot of times it was up on a mountaintop, the sense of feeling the divine presence, Moshe at the burning bush, Jacob in the desert as he was preparing to go meet up with his brother who he had stolen his birthright. These are all places where we see in the stories the encounter with the divine. Abraham in his tent. So they're all kind of individual chosen places. This is the first place that's a communal gathering place with the intention of feeling that indwelling presence of the divine. And then besides the external, which has lots of tents and cloths and whatever, and there's a lot of description about this, there's also the building of what's the Ark of the Covenant and the 10 two tablets with the 10 commandments or the 10 utterances, as well as the broken tablets, the first set that Moses came down. So you have these whole tablets, you have these broken tablets, you have this huge gathering place, which has kind of layers of entry. And in fact, the center part, the heart of it all, is called the Holy of Holies. And only the high priest can go in there because so holy, everybody else is going to get burned up. So we have this sense of the indwelling presence, and it's built to travel because the Israelites were traveling. And that can be seen as a beautiful metaphor that God isn't like just in buildings, in things that we build, in tabernacles, in fancy structures. But the presence of the divine moves with us as we move. And so wonderful. Many years ago, a colleague and friend who's a Jewish yoga teacher as well as a Rabbi Miriam Klotz, did something where she talked about the yoga mat, being kind of the foundation, and to put your body on the yoga mat to be the foundation where you rest your soul and your body, like the Mishkan. And I just always found that a wonderful metaphor, the body as the Mishkan, that we want to honor the body as the indwelling presence, as the presence of the divine. As I say over and over again, because I love this teaching, we are made Tselem Elohim. We're made in the image of Elohim, in the image of the divine. This is all divine. What's inside of us is divine. And when we lose that, then we have spiritual practice to remind us, to bring us back to that. So Jewish tradition does not say that God is only in places like the Temple Mount, where the original Temple of Solomon was, the second temple, or the first temple, or in, a structure. That the structures help us. They set context, beautiful imagery, or a place that is not, that's used specifically for something, does incline us. I know that I have a tendency to meditate in a couple of places, and those places have a certain energy for me because I meditate there regularly. So my body knows as I go to sit in this chair, on that cushion, or whatever, it kind of like, oh, I know what you're going to do here. Like it's already starting. And so the buildings that we have can help us in that way. I'm walking in, I want to be my best self. I'm already inclining, I'm already intending, I already have a kavanah. But that isn't the place that God, the divine, dwells exclusively. It's a place. And in fact, one of the names for the divine is Hamakom, the place. So any place that we dwell is the place of God, of the divine. Just want to take that in for a second. So then there's another lovely phrase from this Torah portion in Exodus 25, chapter 25, line 8. God says to Moses, V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham. And I love this phrase, and you'll see why, because there's a beautiful chant I'm going to do that has it in it. It's typically been translated, let them, Moses, tell the people, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, B'tokham. But it can absolutely be read or interpreted as I will dwell in them. So maybe both and among them, in the relationships between people, and in them. Let the people know that I dwell in them. V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham, in them. It's such a beautiful idea. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. One of the ways that that we remember that the divine dwells in us is through spiritual practice, is through meditation, is through chant, is through prayer, is for doing wonderful acts of loving kindness. All of those, taking a walk in nature, all of these practices are there to remind us that the divine dwells in us, that we are made Tselem Elohim, Tselem Yah, made in the image of the divine. And so we're going to do our body scan in meditation today to remind us of the divine that is in us, in all of us. So the chant that I'm going to do today, I actually just this morning from a client realized where it was, because she got the email about the meditation. She's like, sent me this. Oh, it reminds me of this. I'm like, well, that's the chant I was going to do, but I didn't know where the tune came from. So now I do. So it's a English tune by the group Beautiful Chorus that has then in Jewish circles put the Hebrew V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham also to it. So I'll do both the English and the Hebrew. It's really lovely. And I hope you will take it in. You can hum along. If you're somebody that likes to chant as a spiritual practice, you can chant to your heart's content here with me. And then we'll move into the meditation with a body scan. V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham, V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham, V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham, V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham. V'asuli Mikdash V'shkhanti B'tokham. Yai-dai, 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 So if you don't already have your eyes closed and you'd like to close them, feel free to do that, or gently soften your gaze somewhere where it won't be easily distracted. And first start by noticing your body in the chair or the cushion where you're sitting, noticing the pressure under your sits bones, on your low back, noticing either the bottoms of your feet or maybe where your ankles are crossed, anywhere that you're getting feedback on your body, feeling some kind of pressure, bringing ourselves into the body. And then take your attention and notice the breath. Notice how your body receives your breath. And notice how your body releases your breath. Just breathing in your natural breath rhythm. Noticing the rise and the fall, the receiving and the releasing. Notice the filling of your body with breath, with air, and the letting go of the breath. You may notice the cool air coming in where it touches your nostrils or your lips. You might notice the cool air on exposed parts of your skin, or if you're in a warm climate, the warm air. Really honoring all the body sensations that you're having in this moment, those that are pleasant and those that are unpleasant, or those that are neutral. And before we start our body scan, setting some intention for yourself, remembering that an intention, a kavanah, is like a prayer that's already answered. So not I will, but I am. I am open to receiving. I am curious about what will arise and what sensations I'll feel. I invite in joy, something like that for your intention for this meditation. And noticing as we breathe, the front of the body that moves with the breath, soft front, expanding and contracting. And noticing the back of the body, where the spine, the back of the ribs, that is sturdy and strong. Soft front, strong back. We allow the heart and the spirit to be as present as we can in that sweet, soft vulnerability. And we ground ourselves in the strength of our spine and the knowing that we are also able to be strong while we are open. Paying attention to your posture at any time during this body scan meditation, anytime you feel inspired or called to move, do so. We're paying attention to the body. We're honoring the body and what it needs in a very deep way. So if you notice you need to move, feel free to do that. As we pay attention to the posture, rooting ourselves down in the sit bones and imagining the spine lengthening, not overextending the neck. So a little bit of holding an imaginary apple under your chin to elongate the spine of the neck and to keep that spinal column nice and straight, imagining the breath running up and down the spine as you breathe in and breathe out. Sitting up nice and tall, not collapsing the vertebrae in the low back, giving them some nice stretch, not overstretching, but inviting them to also honor the body and to sit up in an awake, alert way. Noticing whether the shoulders carry a lot of tension in the shoulders. You might want to lift the shoulders up towards the ears, send them back behind you, and then slide them down towards your back pockets. Not obviously you can't get there, but we're inclining in that direction just to give some space between the shoulders and the ears. So as we start our journey, allowing yourself to feel with each breath an expansion of yourself, and with each exhale, the release and contraction. So as you inhale, expanding and receiving, and as you exhale, contracting and releasing. We're going to do some tensing and releasing, recognizing that the body sometimes holds tension and we want to invite it to let that go, to let ourselves rest in that sacred Mishkan space that we're creating for ourselves, this holy sanctuary of this time, this moment in this body. So as you breathe in, can contract all the facial muscles towards the nose. And as you exhale, you can let it all go. Even opening up the mouth, maybe even letting the tongue go. Again, breathing in, contracting, and exhaling, letting it all go. And then just natural breathing, noticing if there's anywhere in the face, anywhere in the throat, back of the neck, back of the head, eyebrows, behind the eye sockets, anywhere that feels like it's got a little extra tension. Breathe into that tension. And then as you exhale, just let it soften. Don't force it. Just invite the body to see if it can soften naturally. If there's no tension, then just breathe into the head space, the face, maybe into the smile muscles, the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, back of the throat. And we'll do the same thing with the shoulders and the neck. So as we breathe in, we bring the shoulders up to the neck and tense, 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 tense. And as we exhale, let it go. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in, tense, tense, tense the shoulders towards the ears, and exhale, letting it go. You can do it in one other direction. So as you inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. And as you exhale, let that go. And take a few breaths. Again, breathing into anywhere that still has some tension, feeling free to move. As the mind may wander while you're doing this, simply bring it back to the breath. Breathing in and receiving. Breathing out and releasing. So we move to the heart space, and instead of tensing and releasing, we want to imagine breathing into the heart and breathing and releasing the breath from the heart. As you breathe in your next breath, imagine the heart expanding. And as you exhale, the heart softening. And then just returning to your normal breath, noticing the heart, noticing how it feels. Is it feeling softer or tense or tenser? And is there any intention or breath that you want to invite into the heart? The heart of our spirit is how we connect to what is delightful and joyful, and also what is painful, the suffering and grief that is part of the human experience. So see if in this moment you can allow your heart to be open to all of that. The joy, the love, and also the pain and suffering that is in our world right now, that is in each and every one of us. And see if you can imagine the divine indwelling presence of the Shekhinah in your heart or surrounding your heart, or whatever way that is felt or imagined by you. that we are loved and connected at all moments by that unbounded ahava rabbah, that great love, that great spirit that wants both healing and wholeness for us and healing and wholeness for the world. And with gratitude for our hearts and how they connect us to all that is, all that was, and all that will be, we move and put our attention to the lungs, that which truly is our lifeline. As we breathe in and receive the breath of life, and breathe out so that our life is then utilized by other life on the planet. We recognize our connection that really can never be severed from all life. We are part of the natural flow. Each breath reminds us. We inhale the exhale of the world, and we exhale, and it is inhaled by the world. We inhale the creative life force from the beginning of time, and we exhale into that sense and presence of all that will come after us as well. And taking a few moments to breathe in many directions. In your next breath in, notice and imagine the lungs expanding front to back. And as you exhale, having them come back in. Breathing in, expanding front to back, connecting us with our ancestors and those who will come after us. And exhaling into that space as well. With your next exhale, putting more emphasis on breathing side to side, expanding yourself out, growing your connection with all of those around you and in this community. Inhaling and exhaling, we notice how we expand and contract, the natural rhythm of being in relationship with others. That requires us some time to expand, and maybe even beyond our comfort zone, and some time to contract, making space for others. That is the movement of humility. Every time we breathe, we are embodying humility. And the last direction of the lungs, we put our attention on as we breathe in, breathing down into the lungs and feeling the depth. And as we exhale, letting that go. Breathing in, imagining the lungs moving down, filling up with air, and exhaling and letting it go. As we expand the lungs, both the upper part of the lungs coming up and the bottom part of the lungs expanding. This is our sense of dignity, the sacred way that we are who we were meant to be, and to honor that. We are never supposed to be like anybody but ourselves. We are created in the divine image, but as a unique reflection of that divine. So as we breathe, we can embody that sense of our own dignity. Just to be alive is to be who we were meant to be. And if you can, we'll take the arms and the hands and do a tensing and releasing. So as you breathe in, you can tense the hands, tense the wrists, tense the arms. Hold it, tense it. And as you exhale, letting it go, you might even want to let the palms come up in a surrendering, releasing, receiving. Taking a couple breaths here. And as we come back, one more, we inhale, tense the hands, tense the wrists, tense the arms. And exhale, letting it all go. It's a little bit harder to do it in the chair, but do the best that you can. Think about, on the next inhale, tensing the glutes and the hips and the pelvic area. Tensing, tensing, and exhale, letting it go. Inhaling in glutes, pelvis, maybe even the internal organs in the belly. Tensing, 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 and exhale, letting it go. And then just noticing the freedom of movement in the belly, in the hips. You might want to move, adjust a little bit for the last one. We'll do the legs and the feet. Again, whatever is easiest for you. It might be lifting your legs up, or it might just be pushing down really firmly. So as we inhale, tense the toes and the feet and the ankles and the calves and the shins. Squeeze the thighs together. Squeeze the knees together. Tensing, tensing, tensing. And exhale, letting it go. Taking a couple of breaths here. And the last one, as we inhale, tense the feet, the soles of the feet, the ankles, the knees, the calves, the shins, the inner thighs, tensing, 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 and exhale, and letting it go. And simply taking a few moments to travel around your body with the breath and notice what you notice. Notice if there's anywhere that's still holding a little tension. You can breathe into that tension and let it go. Or it may be noticing the stillness and the softness of the body, of your body. So giving yourself a moment or two to be with your body. And then I invite you to come back to that image of the divine, of the Shekhinah dwelling in you, around you, that you are part of that indwelling presence of the divine. It may be easiest to do it in the heart center. For some people, it might be imagining it coming in through the top of the head, the crown of the head. For some, it may be imagining the energy of the earth coming up through your feet and up through your legs into the body, or encasing yourself in the divine presence and feeling it naturally just soaking in through every pore, through your skin. Whatever feels right for you, just inviting that divine presence to be in you. You are the Mishkan. You are the dwelling place of the divine, the sacred, holy temple. And for our last minute together with this meditation, I invite you to, with each breath, simply be present to the expansion and contraction, the universe of you that is alive, breathing, living, and feeling the divine flow, the Shefa that is you. Taking a big breath in if you need to bring yourself back into this present moment, and staying connected to the sacred temple of your body. As we leave this meditation today, may you continue to feel connected to and know that you are a Mishkan. You are a holy temple. Your body is a sacred space for your spirit and for the divine. And you are made in the image of Yah, B'Tselem Yah.